turn your dial. Dapper Don's here to make you smile with a co-host sharp and riff so true. We've got the laughs, the rants, the view. What's going on? Oh, what's the word? Indy's the city where we'll be heard. From Monument Circle to Broad Ripple on. What's going on with Dapper Don? So grab your coffee, Hoosiers, and let's get to it. 'Cause we're in the house!
What's going on? It's Dapper Don, and I'm excited to welcome you all back. Now, as we've said at least twice now on this show, the internet was a radically different place between 2011 and 2016. And what made the internet radically different was not the content, but the fact that the main consumer base of the internet would have been too young to have been as online as we were. This was during the time when being a nerd and being into things like FNAF, My Little Pony, or Undertale was niche, to say the least. So the growth of these fan spaces at this time was relatively small, and any engagement was limited to people who were already deeply engaged with the medium. And ironically enough, despite the fact that this was the case, it was almost a better time to put out these original stories and games, because the small fandom presence caused sharper engagement, and with sharper engagement came more spread. And being popular in 2016, even for niche audiences, was still kind of a plus, because a lot of things that were popular in 2016 have exploded in popularity now. I mean, for God's sakes, just look at Markiplier. Before his success, his rise and his bumps were all defined by YouTube, and now this man has come out with a movie that was #1 for at least the whole day it was released. If you asked your mother what a Markiplier was in 2016, she most likely would have looked at you like you were crazy. Now you ask her, and she'll at least know that he was a weird YouTuber that got famous off of FNAF and made that one movie. This is where Creepypasta comes in. For those of you who don't know, which would mean that you're either too old or too young to watch this podcast, but by all means, do what you want. A creepypasta is a play on the word copypasta. Copypastas are essentially blurbs and quotes that you copy and paste for humor. Creepypastas were meant to be the horror equivalent of that. Something in the vein of a chain letter, except instead of curses being the main focus, it was Sonic with bleeding eyes. However, these little horror stories evolved to be something greater than just a way to scare your friends real quick. They grew into worlds, complex-ish characters, and monsters that were so iconic-ish that they garnered their own fandoms. It happened to Slenderman, it happened to Jeff the Killer, it happened to Sonic, and it was the perfect time because no matter how shittily written these stories were, if they at least had a cool concept, they were prime fandom material. Now, as far as why we ate that up, I already mentioned the reason, but I'll go into more depth. There were not many spaces, at least not many huge ones, for nerds like there are today. Back in 2011, they were still making cartoons making fun of us and our weird little interests. It was seen as this kind of taboo fringe thing to be a nerd, to be a writer, or to even be an artist. I'm sure you can relate, can't you, Comic?
Oh, yeah. I've been a nerd all my life growing up. I always has been into comic books. And I will get picked on for bringing comics to school. It was kind of looked down on back in the early 2000s. I mean, we got superhero films. Well, those were pretty rare back then in the early 2000s and not quite good. Not at the quite level of, the MCU now. And I mean, DC's kind of struggling in that department still. To be honest, I mean, the new Superman was a step up, and I enjoyed the second attempt at the Suicide Squad. The first attempt, I don't like to talk about. I pretend that film doesn't even exist. But yeah, I looked into some creepypasta myself because I'm not too familiar with it. Besides Slender Man, I'm a little bit kind of teetering to being in that age range where I'm a little bit too old.
Right.
But yeah, I know what Slender Man was in The Backrooms. That's one that I got into recently, and that one's kind of interesting. And I saw that's being a movie. Yeah.
They're coming out with a film here soon.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be pretty interesting to see what they do with that.
And that director's only 19. He's pretty young.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's pretty cool there to see that. And see, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like, because, the back rooms, that got popular, I believe, right after COVID. So it's been a while for the back rooms before somebody even thought about making a movie about it.
Yeah. And I saw that. I'm like, this kind of reminds me. This takes me back to when people would make myths about the back of furniture stores, and I guess that's what that was.
Right.
They're like,
They're still doing that with IKEA.
Yeah. There's some weird shit going on in an IKEA in the back.
Yeah. But you know that 2011 was very black and white. There were normal people, there were nerds, and both groups hated each other with a burning passion.
Oh, yeah, I would get picked on a lot, like I said, but I was happy with my comics. There was this one store that I would go to back when I lived in Arizona at the time. It was called Heroes and Villains, and my God, I love that comic book shop. I could go there and purchase some comics, and then they would give me these, they were called Hero Bucks, and I could trade those in to get comic books, which was awesome.
Yep.
But yeah, I got into I'm more into vigilantes and actual people with like powers, like the Punisher, Batman, Kick-Ass. I just love those types of people because I can kind of relate to them. Well, besides Batman, and I'm not a billionaire, but Kick-Ass. I mean, he's the most relatable one. High school nerd. He wants to be a superhero in a world without any superheroes, and I'm like, I could actually be this guy if I wanted to, but I'll get my ass kicked.
Well, I mean, he gets his
too.
ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, comic accurate, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that was the most realistic as you could get at the time. Like this guy lives in a world without any superheroes. There's no superpowers at all, just crazy people.
Exactly.
Crazy people are like, I just, I like reading these comics. I'm gonna try this in the real world.
Right. And I like to think that nowadays, though, everybody's at least a little bit nerdy.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
ever since,
thanks to the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, because COVID made a bunch of people realize that they did, in fact, have some fringe interests. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of people who've never touched an oven in their life that got into baking. So, I mean, the media that comes out now features a lot of characters that even if they're supposed to be normal, they're at least a little bit nerdy. They've got some kind of nerdy interest. Either way, back then, even with their questionable quality now, creepypastas were one of our safe havens. We ate this stuff up really because it was one of the only things that was plated for us to consume. And it was the perfect storm because creepypasta has a large crossover with YouTube, gaming, and other nerdy things like DeviantArt, Tumblr, and story narration channels, as well as fan fiction. What's weird is that a lot of the creepypastas were fan fiction, so it was fan fiction of fan fiction. Being a nerd today is a very weird rabbit hole. I'll say that much. Either way, these little stories became something we nerds had no choice but to consume and be traumatized by as a kid and laugh at as an adult. They were everywhere, and they were in all of our spaces. So say what you will about Sonic.exe, that's the Sonic with the bleeding eyes.
Got it.
Markiplier played it, and it garnered millions of views. Say what you will about Jeff the Killer, but a lot of famous creepypasta narration channels hopped on that story and got it as popular now. You said what?
I have no idea who Jeff the Killer is.
Yeah, we're going to get into it. You're about to, yeah. If you have an eye for film and critical analysis, so this is going to hurt you.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not here to do a history lesson. I'm here to make you ashamed of history. So that's why tonight we'll be looking at some literary... Exactly. That's why we'll be looking at some literary war crimes tonight that just might make my eyes bleed. But first, let me introduce my brand new co-host who's been waiting patiently for me to finish this intro spiel. Comicgamingnerd, everybody, or Comic for short.
Hello.
Tell us about yourself.
So I am a Twitch streamer. I've been doing it for quite some time. I used to go by a different name at some point, but that account got hacked and whatnot, so I switched up to this name. I've been streaming on Twitch for, time flies, since 2016. It doesn't feel like that long, but yeah, I've moved around quite a lot of my life. My dad was in the Air Force for 21 years, so growing up, I've moved all over the country. I'm from Illinois originally, lived in Hawaii, Arizona, like I said, South Carolina. That's where my dad retired. That's where my family still is. Then I moved here to Nevada. I've been to Georgia too. I can't forget that. I lived there for 6 months, but I was in a relationship at the time, and that's why I moved here to Nevada. Long story short, I'm on my own now here, but I'm loving it. I can watch what I want to watch whenever without being bossed around, and I can leave a spoon in the sink without being yelled at. It's nice.
That's the dream.
That's
the dream.
But yeah, I'm really into movies. Like you mentioned, movies are my life. Comic books are my life. I don't read as much as I used to because there's been so many reboots now, and it kind of drives me nuts. I'm like, how many times is Marvel going to get rebooted? How many times is DC going to get rebooted?
I think DC is worse about it than Marvel. I've seen Marvel end stories.
Yeah, and then they're like, yeah, we're going to have another universe-breaking event going on. I'm like, this is like the 60th one, DC. Jesus, chill with all these universe-ending events, and then you get rebooted. And oh my God, I don't know if you ever heard of the New 52 line of comics for DC.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. I'm also the Absolute comics as well. That's a reboot because Darkseid did some shit, I guess. Yeah, through the DC Dark Metal event, which was pretty awesome. And there's a whole soundtrack of that you can download as well, which I have on my Amazon playlist. Some of those songs are pretty cool. But yeah, I guess that's it. I don't want to take up too much time. No, you're all right, because thank you for that introduction. But yeah, this is the new co-host, guys. He's just nerdy enough to be able to understand this crap and to look at it with an objective eye, look at it with the eye that one should look at it. But he's also he also doesn't have the most knowledge. Exposing him to this and hurting his perception is going to be fun. So let's just get into it. I have a couple stories lined up. We're going to do some dramatic readings of them. And then I'm going to, let you chime in where you need to. And I'm also going to do it as well. Okay. So this first one, Jeff the Killer. You haven't heard of Jeff the Killer? Prepare to be educated on Jeff the Killer. The story begins like this. Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer is still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. See, you had to mention that it was an ominous unknown killer twice. Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's the first sentence. Oh my God. And after little evidence... You didn't edit that at all. The rereads? It didn't take too much time to get into the weeds here. This is gonna suck, because this isn't even the worst one. This is just the one that I noticed. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story. I had a bad dream, and I woke up in the middle of the night, says the boy. I saw that for some reason the window was open, even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed. I got up and shut it once more. Because, that's how all little boys talk. I remember on the eve of Christmas, my window was slightly ajar, and I got up to close it once more. That's how little kids talk, don't you know? Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling like someone was watching me. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. This is not how a little kid talks. No. I'm going to do an old British guy from here on out. This is not a little boy. This is Scrooge. There, in the little ray of light, illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. Yeah, this sounds better. A pair of two eyes. It's not just a pair. It was a pair of two eyes. These weren't regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. No description, just dark, ominous eyes. Here we go. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's not a description. That's when I saw his mouth. A long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there, watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said it. A simple phrase, but said in a way that only a madman could speak. This is an old British guy. He said, "Go to sleep." I let out a scream. That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around, trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder, because yep, people do that. They can, yep, that's definitely realistic. I mean, come on. Yep. Jeff the Killer, by the way, is supposed to be a random teenage boy who went crazy after an accident. So, definitely tossing knives with point blank accuracy. What do you think?
Was he in a car accident?
We'll get into it later, but no, he was not mutated. That he can just do that. Apparently,
is he an X-Men?
The man is he an X-Men? That's a good question. That is a really good question, and based on this story, you might wonder why this story is even the way it is. If this is supposed to be a normal guy, but the man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbors hadn't alerted the police. They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash, like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointing towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out it to see him vanish into the distance. I can tell you one thing, I will never forget that face, those cold, evil eyes and that psychotic smile. They will never leave my head. Yep, because those are all the great horror monsters. They get bitched out by the police. Police are still on the look for this man. They're on the look. Not lookout, they're on the look. Gotta get it right. If you see anyone that fits the description in this story, please contact your local police department. And now it gets into the actual origin of the killer. The lame-ass, fucking bitched out by police but can throw knives with point-blank accuracy killer. Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Jeff and his brother... What the fuck? This guy, his brother's name is spelled L-I-U.
L-I-U? Is that supposed to be Lou?
Yeah, they're not... That's supposed to be like Lou, but they're not described as like Asian in the story, so I don't know why his name is Lou.
Liao?
Liu?
Liao? I don't know.
We're just gonna call him. We're just gonna call him L, like in Death Note. I don't know what the fuck this author is thinking, unless they were just trying to make a cool name or something. I don't even know, because I don't know. We're just gonna call him L, because I don't want to offend any Asian listeners. A new, better house. What was not to love as they were getting unpacked? One of their neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son." What the fuck? Is Barbara AI? "Hello, I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son. Siri, write me a shitty horror story." She turns around and calls her son over. "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mom, "I'm Margaret. This is my husband Peter and my two sons, Jeff and Elle." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Because you couldn't put that in quotations. You couldn't just have dialogue for that, could you? Boy. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said that they would love to. Okay, why is this not dialogue?
Hold on. They just met. Why is she inviting the kids to her?
That's another thing. What the fuck?
They just met.
What if these people were killers? I mean,
right.
One of them turns out to be, but yeah. I mean, it's like, come on. What is this? This is not how people interact. Oh, gosh.
It sounds like something you would see in a movie, like, welcome new neighbor to the apartment complex. We're going to throw you a party, for being a new neighbor. Like that kind of generic thing.
This was early 2000s, so I guess that was still pretty common back then. But, I mean, come on. Even in neighborhoods with, like, housing dues, I don't see people doing that shit.
Never once. And like I said, I've lived all over. I never experienced anything like that.
Like, this is just not how that works. All right. Okay, now I'm going to do Jeff's voice real quick. I've got to come up with something sufficiently... Here we go. I got it. "Mom, why would you invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid." "Jeff," said his mother, We just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. What are you, the fucking neighborhood watch? Now we're going to that party. And that's final. Jeff started to talk but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mom said something, it was final. I would assume so. She did say that that's final.
I mean,
He
she could be like,
walked up
"Oh,
to
ask your
his-
dad."
Or ask your dad. Well, he should have asked his dad. I don't know why he didn't ask his dad.
Yeah, usually kids would go, be like, "I'm gonna ask dad too, to get his confirmation." That's what I would do. Me like, I'm gonna ask, other parent too, just in case.
Yeah, apparently the dad is working. That's their excuse for not having him present in the story. Every story has an excuse for the parent not to be present.
Yeah, like Disney does all the time. They died.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Disney's just like kill the bitch,
Yeah, the only time it wasn't towards like siblings. Like, be careful with sex. Yeah, we're gonna kill her.
Well, you're gonna love this story then. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at his ceiling when suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much a pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. Okay, thank you for the third time saying feeling in the same paragraph. He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it. Well, what else would you do when your mother calls you down to get your stuff? The next day, Jeff walked downstairs, and downstairs is not the same word. It's separated because we're great writers. We were great writers back then. Original character, do not steal. Walked downstairs to get breakfast and got ready for school. As he sat there eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. This time it was stronger. You didn't describe what the feeling was, what it felt like,
He's watching him,
or what it was showing you. So how are we supposed to picture what feeling this guy is feeling? Okay. I'm going to wait a couple paragraphs this time, but it's like every sentence. It's every frame of pause. I swear to God. It gave him a slight tugging pain. Okay, there it is. There's the description, but what's the purpose of it? But he once again dismissed it. As he and Elle finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then, all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both jumped back in surprise. Hey, what the hell? The kid landed and turned back to them. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid seems to be about 12.
12 and he can do that
Tensing.
already?
Yeah, apparently. Well, that's one. And two, is this a present tense story or a past tense story? The kid seems to be about 12 and you've been using ED this whole time. Oh, boy. 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans.
His family has some money.
His family has to have some money because I've never seen a normal 12-year-old dress like that. They're usually dressed in a polo or some. They were back when I was 12. The other 12-year-olds like dressed in polos and shit because, well, our parents beat our asses. So I mean, we weren't gonna dress like crazy. All right, now here's we got to get the bully voice. Let me see. Let me think. Got it. Well. Looks like we got some new meat. Suddenly, 2 other kids appeared. One was super skinny and the other was huge. Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Okay, sure. Over there is Keith. Who the fuck is named Keith? What the fuck kind of kid from... This story is like between 2011 and 2016. Who the fuck is naming their kid Keith?
Yeah, this ain't the 70s or 80s. That's where that name
Jeff
belongs.
and... Literally. There is no kid my age right now named Keith. And if you are, I'm... sorry for your name. Jeff and Elle looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have. And he's Troy. They looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. Fat phobia. Woohoo!
They eat fat shaming.
Always loved my early 2000s stories. They hated fat people and they hated nerds. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling. More fat phobia. Woohoo! And I, said the first kid, am Randy. Now, for Randy? Really?
Randy Marsh from South Park.
I mean, I believe Randy more than Keith, but it's still not, that's not what you name a kid.
Hey, I'm just picturing Randy from South Park.
Well, when I think of Randy, I think of like some sketchy guy at the bus stop, not a 12-year-old. You know? Now, or like somebody in fucking accounting that doesn't belong in accounting. I don't know. Now, for all the kids in this neighborhood, there is a small price for bus fare, if you catch my drift. Elle stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes. You could have just said punch the kid's... actually, that's just not a good sentence. When one of his friends pulled a knife on him. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way. The kid walked up to Elle, and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong. A burning sensation. He stood up, but Elle gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid. Okay. Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else. Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife because, 12-year-olds, that's what they do. They carry knives. Yep, that's real. Every 12-year-old had a knife.
I mean, it may be more common now.
It's more common now because of the fact that people have gotten fucking crazier now.
Yep.
But 2011 to 2016, there was no 12-year-olds didn't even know what knives were.
Oh, actually,
I think
there was this one guy that I knew that I went to school with, and he was his family were into hunting, so he had a hunting knife on him and on his backpack all the time. It's the only time that I knew a kid with one.
You know what? Then I guess we just can assume that this kid's family has hella money and they take this kid hunting, which begs the question: how did skateboarding come into? Never mind.
Fairly low.
Y'all got to choose your aesthetic. Y'all got to choose. They got to choose their aesthetic here. He's a hunting rich kid that skateboard. Okay. And what will you do? Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Randy screamed, and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach, and Troy went down.
Does Jeff
As he fell, he puked. Well, this isn't even the word. As he fell, he puked all over. This is somebody's fantasy about what they were wanting to do to their bullies. This isn't really how it actually works.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been punched in the stomach before, but you don't vomit. You suffocate.
Yeah. I've been punched in the stomach quite a lot. Well, because I had to, because I took MMA classes years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if vomiting was the response.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't have vomit.
Yeah, somebody just had a wish fulfillment fantasy here in this moment. Elle could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. Jeff, how'd you... That was all he said. It's not a cutoff either. It's a complete sentence. That was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing. So they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. Because bus drivers definitely care that much. As Jeff and Elle made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Elle just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was, the urge to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the entire day of school. Even as he walked home due to the whole thing near the bus stop, and how now he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore, he felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said, in a somewhat ominous voice, "It was a wonderful day." Next morning, he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers at the door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look. "Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids, that it wasn't regular fighting and that they were stabbed." "Stabbed, son!" Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. "Mom, they were the ones who pulled knives on me and Elle." "Son," said one of the cops, We found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now, what does that tell us? Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Elle had been attacked, but then there was no proof it was not them who attacked first. They couldn't say that they weren't fleeing, because truth be told, they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Elle. Why couldn't he? Most police know that kids just don't attack other kids unprovoked. Okay. Son, call down your mother. Jeff couldn't do it since it was him who beat up all the kids. Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Elle tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me. The cop looked at his partner, and they both nod. Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie. Wait, said Elle. They all looked up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Elle. Yep, okay. That's...
Wait, a year in juvie for
okay.
stabbing other kids? I thought it would be like a longer sentence.
Well, first of all, why are they fucking pulling guns on 12-year-olds? What the fuck is going on
That's
here?
America.
That's America, I guess.
Yeah.
It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it. He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle. Son, just put the knife down, said the officer. Elle held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. No, Elle, it was me. I did it. Jeff had tears running down his face. Huh. Poor bro, trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away. The police led Elle out to the patrol car. Elle, tell them it was me. Tell them. Or Elle, tell them it was me. Tell them. I was the one who beat up those kids. Forgot my voice for him. Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulders. Jeff, please, you don't have to lie. We know it's Elle. You can stop. Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds off with Elle inside. Okay, not gonna talk about this tense thing anymore. I don't know. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled into the driveway, seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong. Son, what is it? Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him as Jeff wept in the driveway. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house, seeing that his parents were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. He couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Elle when it was his fault. He just went to sleep trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by with no word from Elle at JDC. What the fuck, this juvenile detention center? You could have just said that. No friends to hang out with. Nothing but sadness and guilt. That is until Saturday when Jeff is woke up by his mother with a happy, sunshiny face. Because, yeah, that's what you fucking do. You find out your brother has to go to fucking juvie for a year, and you still wake up sunny, ready to go to a birthday party, because that's how mothers respond. So I'm not gonna. I don't really want to do the whole thing of this. The idea is that he goes to the birthday party, and then a fire happens. He gets burned up. He gets like a white face, scary white face, and
Wouldn't he have burns instead?
no, because this is creepypasta logic. He has to look like Heath Ledger's Joker. Let me pull up Jeff the Killer, how he looks for you. Now, reminder, this is a kid with burn scars. So, just take that into account when you look at his appearance. I need the original, not the anime versions.
Oh, there's an anime
Oh my
on
god,
this?
there's a bunch of people that have drawn anime versions of this guy, and there's just like so much.
Oh, I thought there was an actual
There's
anime
so
series, like a whole anime about this guy. I'm like, what?
If they do, I'm gonna scream. If they do, I'm going to be very mad. Okay, let me see. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen now, just to show you what this guy looks like. Can you see that?
It is loading. Oh, yeah, here we go.
So
This kind of looks like. Have you seen that movie? No, it was called Smiley. And it was this killer who's stalking a college campus, and it kind of looks like this, but it's like a mask. And it's like a smiley face mask.
Right.
That's what it kind of reminds me of.
Well, I don't know if this picture came with the story or if somebody else made this interpretation of it, but this lends itself to an interpretation of looking more like Heath Ledger's Joker than it does. Because, like, where the fuck is his nose? Or where's at least the scar where his nose would be? Why is his face white when he's supposed to have been burned? I know there was like bleach involved in the accident because yes, it was a bleach caused fire. That's what's in the story. Bleach caused the fire. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know. But it's like that doesn't. This
Was
is
this
not what
chemical
burns
lab?
look like, huh?
Thinking this is like a chemical lab, like the Flash, like how Barry Allen got his powers.
I wish that would make far more sense. It would make far more sense if this story took like a DC Comics turn.
Yeah.
But alas, we're not granted with that. We are not blessed with that. But yeah, I'm gonna go to one more story and then we're gonna go on a groove break, which I'll tell you what that is later. But yeah, before we get into the next part, I'm gonna pull up what the monster in the next story looks like. You've heard of Sonic the Hedgehog, right?
Of course, yeah. I play video games. I know what Sonic is. I played a lot of his games growing up. I didn't have a Sega Genesis or anything at the time. I had Nintendo and PlayStation growing up.
Well, this is Sonic.exe. This is the monster in the horror story that we'll be reading next. It's just a recolored Sonic sprite from the original. There's blood. It's edgy. Look at the black eyes with the red pupils and the,
I prefer Shadow for my edginess.
Yeah, I was about to say, leave it to Shadow, people.
You ever
They've already covered it. You talking about Shadow the Hedgehog?
Yeah, the game back in the PS2 era.
No, I heard mixed reviews about that. I heard that it came out and people were like, this feels like 06. But for Shadow.
You know what? Okay, so fun fact on how I acquired that game. I don't know if you ever... Did you have Scholastic Book Fairs at your school?
No. Well, yeah, I did, but I never had any money to buy anything.
So one of the rare times that I did have money to buy something, and I was saving it up, I went to the book fair and, I'm like, I was really big into reading, but then I noticed that they had some video games. I'm like, what kind of book fair... school selling video games? And I see Shadow the Hedgehog being sold, and he's carrying a gun on the front cover of the game. I'm like, how is this okay? How is this okay? But yeah, I'm like, this looks awesome. I buy it. I play it when I get home. I'm like, and he's swearing too when he dies. Like, if you die, he says shit and stuff like that. I'm like, what is going on? This is nonsense. This is...
You're talking about that damn fourth Chaos Emerald.
Yep. You just cusses all the time. When things don't go his way, and there's like this whole like Cthulhu army, too. I'm like, what is going on? And why are there evil squids all over the place? And there's like 3 different factions of like, there's like humans, there's the Cthulhu things, and then there's like the Sonic people, the little animals. I'm like, this is batshit insane. And there's like multiple endings to the game too.
And yeah, there's quite a few, depending on what route you take. I'm familiar with the game. I just never played it. So I don't know if it's good, bad. I don't know if people are just looking at...
I might be wearing, as they say, like rose-tinted glasses when I say this, but I quite enjoyed the game because it was different from what we got at the time, Sonic, because no other Sonic character would carry a gun and ride a motorcycle. I just thought it was cool. At the time, I need to get back. I don't have a PS2 on me now. I have a PS5, so unfortunately I can't get back into Shadow, unless if I, go the online ROM search way, but I don't think I have a good enough computer to play PS2 games.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, Sega already did edgy, evil Sonic, guys. This was never really gonna work. But let's just see what their interpretation of an edgy, creepy Sonic looks like. Warning, this is scary. That's real text from the story, by the way. I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I've ever played glitchy or hacked games before, though I don't think I want to play any after the experience I had. Okay, first off, first sentence, come on now. If you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, you've played glitchy or hacked versions of Sonic the Hedgehog. Don't act like you're a Puritan. I'm a Sonic fan, and I've played at least 50 different Sonic ROMs where, it's Metal Sonic as Sonic the Hedgehog, Knuckles as Sonic the Hedgehog, Shadow as Sonic the Hedgehog, Tails as Sonic the Hedgehog, Kirby as Sonic the Hedgehog. There was one with Kirby.
What? How does that even work? The Kirby
How does that work? How does that work? I have no idea, but come on. No Sonic fan has never touched hacks. That's not a thing. But I don't think I want to play any after the experience I had. It started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed. I liked how you get to explore the towns in it. Well, maybe that's the only thing to like in Sonic Unleashed. I heard Sonic Unleashed wasn't very good either, so maybe the town exploration was the only thing to like in it. I don't know.
I just being able to turn into a hedge, what did they call it? Like a wolf hog, hedge wolf? I forgot the term.
A furry with more fur.
Yeah.
There was more fur on that furry. Until I noticed, out of my peripheral vision, that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox as usual and left. I paused my game to go see what I had got in the mail. The only thing in the mailbox was a CD case for computers and a note. I took it inside. I looked at the note first and realized it was from my dear friend Kyle. Let's just call him that.
Wait, first why can't he Kyle? This sounds like
why can't we just call him Kyle? I was about to say, these are not real people. You can just call him fucking Kyle. I'm trying to respect the autonomy of characters you made. What the fuck? Yeah, whom I hadn't heard from in 2 weeks. I know that because I recognized his handwriting, though what was weird, you couldn't have just recognized it from the fact that the letter was probably signed Kyle. What was weird was how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy and somewhat difficult to read. I'm pretty sure if it's badly written, it might be a little bit difficult to read, yes. As if Kyle was having a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. I'm okay. This is what he wrote. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late. And I was hoping you'd do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me. And if you don't destroy this CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Why is it too late for you? You can just destroy the disc.
Unless if it's like the like Book of the Dead, from like Evil Dead. What is it called? I can never pronounce it for the life of me.
The Necronomicon?
There we go. Thank you. Yeah, maybe it's like that. You can't burn it or destroy it. You can only like lock it away or give it to someone else.
Yeah. But the thing is, what's weird about it is it never gets explained that way, that like only somebody who's able to like break the curse can destroy it. There's no explanation for why the guy being actively chased by the threat can't just like throw the disc on the ground and stomp on it. Okay.
And why is he giving it to this guy? To this kid?
I don't know. I was about to say, yeah, this is supposed to be your best friend and you're putting him in danger so you can say whatever. I mean, we have to get into the horror somehow, I guess. Destroy the disc and you'll destroy him. But do it quick, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Just destroy it. Please, Kyle. Now, his friend, who's actively being murdered by the monster in the game, is saying don't play the game. Can you guess what Tom did?
He played the game.
These people are white people. Yes, they are.
Yeah, as a fellow white person, I can confirm that that's what white person would usually do. I hear a noise in the basement. I'm going to go check it out. And I'm like, don't do that.
This is definitely a white moment. Matter of fact, a little bit of applause for that. A white moment. Well, that was certainly weird. Wait till you see the rest of this story. Even though Kyle is my best friend and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me. I didn't think that a simple gaming disc would do anything bad to him. After all, it's just a game, right? Boy, was I wrong about that. This sounds like somebody's trolling. Maybe that's why it got moved to Trollpasta. Trollpasta Wiki is where creepypastas that are either bad or humorous get moved when they're not, it's like they can't remain on Creepypasta Wiki because they are not creepy anymore. This sounds like somebody is trolling. This does not sound like a serious work of... This is not serious.
That doesn't sound serious.
Anyway, I looked at the disc and it looks like any ordinary computer CDR disc, except it had black marker on it written Sonic.exe. And it was much unlike Kyle's handwriting, meaning that he must have gotten it from someone else like a pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the writing of the CD, I was actually excited and wanted to play it since I'm a big Sonic fan. You said that earlier. Thank you for clarifying. I went up to my room and turned on my computer and put the disc in and installed the game. When the title screen popped up and I noticed that it was the first Sonic game, I was like, awesome. Because like I said, earlier I liked the classics. Yes, most Sonic fans do. We don't. The problem is with a lot of these creepypasta stories is that they keep padding it with nonsense, and it's not even natural nonsense. It's not like I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth, then I find a random disc on my porch, and then this monster comes out of it. It's got to be this constant repeat of shit. I can't believe we ever thought this shit was scary. My generation is cooked.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get into that stuff. I mean, yeah, like I said, I was a little bit out of that age range. Yeah, that kind of sounds like the earlier what is it, like mythology stuff, like the urban legends,
Well, it kind of is like that,
like Bigfoot.
but they're worse written. Like, people talk about boogeymen all the time, but those stories are actually interesting.
Yeah. It's like an attempt at that type of thing, urban legends, but let's make them shitty. Let's make them shittier.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm going to go to where they're describing what the image looked like in the game, because they put too much preamble into him actually putting the disc into the PC and booting it up, and I don't feel like reading all that. I remember what the image looked like in that split second before the game cut to black. The sky had darkened, the title emblem was rusted and ruined, Sega 1991, and now instead Sega 666, and the water had turned red like blood, except it looked hyper-realistic. Now, the term hyper-realistic is a theme in old creepypasta, and no, nobody knows what the fuck it means. Because how are you... I mean, I don't know. And nobody knows what the fuck that means, though, and it's a common term.
I mean, to me, it means like higher resolution.
Well, I wish they would have said that, because hyper-realistic just... I mean, it sounds like it's trying a dimension above realistic, which just isn't possible. I don't know. I guess you could have said, I mean, there's ways you could word this that sound way better than hyper-realistic. You could have said the eyes on the character were, because like Lovecraft does this a lot, where he'll just say they're beyond description.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves it open to interpretation. The scariest thing you can imagine, you've now imagined for this, and you didn't have to do anything fancy. But the freakiest thing that was in that split-second frame was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding with two glowing red dots staring right at me, and his smile had stretched wider up to the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about that image when I saw it, though I figured that it was just a glitch and forgot about it. After it cut to black, it stayed like that for about 10 seconds or so. Then another weird thing happened. The save file select from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up, and I was like, BTF? What's this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, the rest of the story, because I don't want to bore you with the rest of this story and the terrible writing therein, is that Sonic, it shows gruesome murder scenes of Sonic killing his friends. There's a laugh, and then there's an end screen of Sonic showing their mutilated bodies off, and then do you want to play again? It's like a computer virus that wants to play a game with you that spawns a monster that also wants to kill you. That's the whole point of the story, which is fine. That type of thing can be made scary, but under the current conditions, the only thing that this makes me want to do is rip my eyes out so that they can bleed.
You know what this reminds me about? Trying to think of the title, but it was actually Disney's only legit horror movie, and it had Frankie Muniz. You know who Frankie Muniz is, right? Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah, I'm familiar now.
Yes.
Now that you said that, I'm familiar.
I'm trying to look at the title real quick, but this sounds like a ripoff of that movie where these teenagers get this game, and they play this game, and the way that they die in the game, they die in real life.
And there were plenty of stories that had that trope as well, so I have no doubt in my mind that this story was a poor ripoff, a poor imitation of those elements. No doubt in my mind.
Stay Alive, there we go. This came out in 2006. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is where they got that idea from.
Yeah, that definitely
was a terrible movie, though. Terrible. It was pretty awful.
A lot of people don't know how to write this premise the correct way, so I don't blame you. Well, I mean, the Jumanji movie that just came out with Kevin Hart, The Rock, Jack Black, all these actors that play the same dude every movie was pretty bad too.
Yeah, and that's still going on. And I mentioned, Jason Statham is one of those people. Like, for him, it's kind of cathartic, though, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's the same character in all these movies, but I like watching him kick ass because it's pretty fun.
I mean, Liam Neeson is the same character in every movie. That's the joke with him, is that, he was the same character in Naked Gun that he was in Taken. He's the same character in Taken that he was when he appeared in that Ted movie during that uncomfortable grocery store scene. That's the bit with him.
Freaking tricks are for kids. Would I get into trouble if I
won't be followed. I have some questions about this breakfast cereal.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for season 2 of Ted. Have you seen season 1?
Yeah, I'm getting through season 1 right now.
It is. I think
I'm kind of seeing some. Yeah, it's got a bit more of an emotional core than the movies, I think, because the movies were just kind of guy gets girl.
Yeah, twice.
But I think that twice. Yeah. I think that this movie has some kind of this show kind of goes into more of it goes more into the people aspect of it. It just feels like a bigger world than what the movies kind of painted it as. There are still some hallmarks of Seth's writing in there, though.
Yeah, I just love Ted. Being in a high school setting, I find it hilarious, and him interacting with the fellow students, and I don't know if I don't want to spoil the show out because I don't know if you got into the episode yet. And there's something with the mom in this school. Is it okay if I give minor spoilers?
What episode is this?
I don't know the episode number because it's been a while since season 1 came out. So basically, I forget the guy's name. I'm just gonna call him Mark because Mark Wahlberg played him in the movies. But his mom becomes a substitute teacher for a day. So Ted is defending her because she's being bullied by these high school girls. They're making fun of her.
Oh, I haven't gotten there yet.
Man, it is great. Maybe he starts ripping into this girl.
Right. Well, yeah, that I gotta finish that series, but that'll probably be talked about on the show too as well. Yeah. So basically, those two that I just read to you were kind of the big two that you think about when you think about creepypasta. And if you can imagine being 10, 11, 12 through 16 reading this. If you were 10, 11, 12, that's not high critical thinking skills. So you're actually getting scared by this. You're having nightmares about it because the image is scary. You don't have the critical thinking skills to kind of parse out the fact that these stories are so badly written. Oh my God. So yeah, if you can imagine that, then you can imagine why these things got as popular as they were. But anyway, that aside, we have reached the halfway point, so now it is time for what I like to call a groove break. I throw on some music. We take about 5 to 10 minutes to kind of take a deep breath, settle in, drink some water, do whatever. And then we come back and we finish the episode. So with that being said, when we come back, we're going to be reading at least one more creepypasta. Probably not even all the way through with this because this one's also poorly written. And then we're going to, I'm going to show you some fan art of some of these characters. And then we're going to segue into the final thoughts section and end the episode. So you are watching What's Going On with Dapper Don. It's going to be a great discussion. Stay tuned.
You're a problem I must solve, so I can save them all. For him I will claim your soul, then your kind will pay the toll. That's my duty as a hero, to make my people whole. She fights so we see the sun, our hearts That's why you and I will never be friends. Your falling down here was your greatest mistake, but I'm glad you did with what's at stake. I'm the hope of monster kind, and I'd like to tell you why, but why would I enlighten you when you're about to die? No, you will never know. This underground is not our home. We'll climb out of this crappy hole and reclaim your world. I'm the hope of monster kind, and I'd like to tell you why, but why would I enlighten you when you're about to die? No, you will never know. This underground is not our home. We'll climb out of this crappy hole and reclaim your On guard! On guard! On guard!
You're tuned in to What's Going On with Dapper Don. Don't touch that dial. And we're back. For those of you just tuning in, we just, kind of chilled, read some creepypasta, ripped it apart, ripped it to shreds, and now we're going to read more creepypasta and kind of go into the cultural impact that a lot of creepypastas have had. And then we're going to wrap up with talking about why I think even future generations are going to fall down this rabbit hole. So with that all being said, let's just jump in here and land this plane. So this one is called Squidward's Sewer Slide.
What?
Yeah. This is another creepypasta about Squidward offing himself.
What the fuck?
No idea. Getting into it now. I just want to start off by saying that if you want an answer at the end, prepare to be disappointed there isn't one. Well, then what's the point in reading the fucking story?
Just a cliffhanger?
I don't know. I don't know. People just... people when people were writing these, it was definitely a mark of the time. They were clearly 13. I was an intern at Nickel.
Any of these people are Wattpad writers now.
They probably started on Wattpad, now that I think about it. That was a pretty popular place for people who thought they could write to get started.
It's more popular now than it was then.
You think?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Because there's a couple now that actually get like TV show deals. There was one popular Wattpad book, stuff something with a board, stuff as a board or something like that, and that got made into like a TV show, I believe, or a movie. I have no idea what it's
I might have
about.
heard of that.
But I saw that I'm like, well, they're turning someone's Wattpad story into either a show or movie. I forget which one it was, but I'm like, well, I guess anything can get turned into a movie or show now if you have the money or the connections.
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look more into Wattpad-based productions, but hell, Wattpad might have even played a role in the spread of Creepypasta now that I think about it, because that would be just the kind of intersection that would lead to more shit. But anyways, back to the story. I was an intern at Nickelodeon Studios for a year in 2005 for my degree in animation. It wasn't paid, of course. Most internships aren't, but it did have a perk beyond education. To adults, it might not seem like a big one, but most kids at the time would go crazy over it. Since I worked directly with the editors and animators, I got to view new episodes days before they aired. I'll get right to it without giving too many unnecessary details. They very recently made the SpongeBob movie. The entire staff was somewhat sapped of creativity, so it took them longer to start up the season. But the delay lasted longer for more unsettling reasons. There was a problem with the Series 4 premiere that set everyone and everything back several months. Because a scary tape definitely will cease production. That is exactly how animation studios work. Me and two other interns were in the editing room along with the lead animators and sound editors for the final cut of an episode. We received the copy that was supposed to be Fear of a Krabby Patty and gathered around the screen to watch. Now, given that the final cut isn't final yet, animators often put up a mock title card at the beginning. It's sort of an inside joke for us, with phony, oftentimes lewd titles being used, such as How Sex Doesn't Work instead of Rockabye Bivalve, in which SpongeBob and Patrick adopt a sea scallop. Nothing particularly funny, just work-related chuckles. So when we saw the title card Squidward's Sewer Slide, we didn't think it more than a morbid joke. One of the other interns did a small throat laugh at it. But how do you do a small throat laugh? Is that what your interns laugh like?
Kind of reminds me of Admiral Akbar from Star Wars.
Oh my god. The episode started with the happy-go-lucky music playing as normal. The story began with Squidward practicing his clarinet, hitting a few sour notes like normal. We hear SpongeBob laughing outside. Squidward stops, yelling at him to keep it down as he has a concert that night and needs to practice. SpongeBob says okay and goes to see Sandy with Patrick. The bubble splash screen comes up and we see the ending of Squidward's concert. This is when things begin to seem off. While playing, a few frames repeat themselves, but the sound doesn't. It's supposed to be synced with the animation, so yes, that's not common. But when Squidward stops playing, the sound finishes as if the skip never happened. There was a slight murmuring in the crowd before they began to boo him. Not the normal cartoon booing that's common in the show, mind you. You could clearly hear malice in it. You can hear malice in the booing in the show. Have you not watched SpongeBob? Oh, brother, this guy stinks! You can't hear malice in that? That is actual malice in that. I don't know what... and this is I don't know. A lot of creepypastas, like, they pretend like a lot of these shows that they're writing the creepypasta about, like, the stuff that appears in the horror stories is, like, novel to the show, but it's like, Sega already did an edgy, evil Sonic in Shadow.
Yep.
And SpongeBob is one of the most cynical shows on network television.
I mean, it used to be. I don't know if it's... I tried... Okay, so I haven't watched the new SpongeBob show, like the new episodes. I haven't watched SpongeBob in a long time, but I did watch that new movie that came out just to see how that it was, because they're like, we're going to introduce a Flying Dutchman, and like, well, you guys already have years and years and years ago. And they're acting like they've never met before. Like, what is going on? Is this a reboot or no? Are they rebooting SpongeBob?
Well, and then the thing is, they not only introduce him like we've never met him before, but like, I don't know, it seems like in that movie, they treat a lot of characters like we've never seen them before. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, and then like Mr. Krabs is like, yeah, I went on this whole like journey when I was young, and I mean, it's Mr. Krabs, so you know straight off the bat he's just bullshitting. Like he was
He's bullshitting. Like it's like this man did nothing. He was a pirate for a while, and then he started a restaurant. Any other story is bullshit.
and he wasn't a brave pirate either. He was just like swapping the decks and shit like that.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of these creepypastas, like back then, I guess that's why they worked, maybe, was the fact that they were leaning on stuff that could happen in the show. But when you think about it, it's like they put malice in lines all the time in the show. Every time Squidward yells, there's malice in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like you
I'm
get
supposed to be scared of something that's in the show all the time.
The hero irritated you was SpongeBob and Patrick all the fucking time. He's like, I don't know if
right.
bullshit.
It's like you know, if they could have gotten away with cussing, they would have.
I mean, there is that one episode, yeah. I love that episode.
The sentence enhancers.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, Squidward's in full frame and looks visibly afraid. The shot goes to the crowd with SpongeBob in center frame. He, too, is booing, which is very much unlike him. No, it's not. But this isn't the oddest thing, though. What's odd is that everyone has hyper-realistic eyes. There's that word again. There's that word. There's the bane of my existence again.
What are these eyes in, like, 1440p?
I don't fucking... nobody knows what this shit means. Nobody knew. Nobody... I don't know. Just like freaking 4K graphics eyes, I guess. I don't know. But it's like, even then, if we're talking about realistic eyes on characters, SpongeBob has done that too. Or did we not watch the same scene? Actors. Did we not watch that same scene? Hyper realistic. I don't know.
What episode of SpongeBob kind of spooked me out at the time was the fucking Doodle Bob thing. Now that was creepy.
Mihoy, mioy, mioy. Now that was a creepy episode. If they did something with that, that might actually have worked. But see, you know, that's how they write horror stories now, right? Because we're older now and we know that different stuff has to be scary in different ways. But back then, I guess we just thought that random shock shit was how you make something scary. In hindsight, right. They were all very detailed, the eyes. Clearly not shots of real people's eyes, but something a bit more real than CGI. Then it's not, but that's just good CGI. Okay, whatever. The pupils were red. Some of us looked at each other, obviously confused, but since we weren't the writers, we didn't question its appeal to children yet. Are you guys retarded? Okay, never mind. We're just gonna move on. We're gonna move on. The shot goes to Squidward sitting on the edge of his bed looking very forlorn. A normal SpongeBob episode. The view out of his porthole window is of a night sky, so it isn't very long after the concert. The unsettling part is that at this point there's no sound, literally zero sound, not even the feedback from the speakers in the room. Here's where the creepypasta actually gets somewhat good with their descriptions, at least what I remember. It's as if the speakers were turned off, though their statuses showed them working perfectly. Squidward just sits there in this silence, blinking for about 30 seconds, then starts to sob softly. He puts his hands, in tentacles, parentheses, over his eyes and cries quietly for a full minute more. All the while, a sound in the background is very gradually growing from nothing to barely audible. It sounds like a slight breeze through a forest. The screen slowly begins to zoom in on his face. By slowly, I mean it's only noticeable if you look at shots 10 seconds apart side by side. His sobbing gets louder and more full of hurt and anger. The screen then twitches a bit as if it twists on itself for a split second before going back to normal. The wind through the trees sound gets louder and more severe, as if a storm is brewing somewhere. The eerie part is that this sound and Squidward's sobbing sounded real. It was like it wasn't coming from the speakers, but that the speakers themselves were holes that the ground was traveling through from the other side. As good a sound as the studio likes to have, they don't have the equipment to be able to produce audio of that quality. Below the sound of the wind and sobbing, very faintly audible, something sounded like laughing. It came at odd intervals and never lasted more than a second, so you had a hard time pinning it. We watched this episode twice, so pardon me if things sound too specific, but I've had time to think about them. We didn't really need that explanation. Could have just gone on with the story. It is fiction. After 30 seconds of this, the screen blurred and twitched violently, and something flashed over it, as if a single frame was placed. The lead animation editor paused and rewound frame. What we saw was horrible. It was a still photo of a dead child. So, now we get back into the problems with this format. A lot of this is a genre called Lost Episode Creepypasta, where it's random violent cartoon episodes splashed in with violence of real people. My problem with these has always been, how does this contribute to the story? So I'm gonna tell you the ending. Essentially, it's a tape of Squidward blasting himself in the head, and that's supposed to be the creepy part. And then he pops up with the creepy eyes and whatever. But it's like all this random shit does not contribute to the story. It may contribute to the shock factor, not the story. Like, what do you mean somebody sneaking dead children onto an animation reel? Like, it's just not how that works. It's just not how that works. I don't know. If somebody's in animation, they can comment on this video telling me if people can sneak pictures of dead children on animation reels. I don't think they can, though. But yeah, hyper-realistic.
Yeah, not that.
Oh, go
I don't
ahead.
know about that. I know they can sneak in things that editors can miss. I've seen it in some some animation, but like not like live action type stuff, but like Easter eggs for things, or like innuendos for things like snuck in that people missed while editing.
Yeah, but you're not putting photos of dead children in there.
Yeah, nothing like that. I think I heard of something in like a live action movie. I forgot what it was. It was like a long time ago, or somebody snuck in something kind of similar. It was like a photo of a dead child in a movie. No idea what the movie was about. But I just remember reading about it quite some time ago. I'm like, oh, this is weird and kind of interesting that no one caught this, or maybe they did and they didn't care to edit it out. I don't know.
I have no idea. But yeah, the story goes on. They do an investigation. Nothing comes of the investigation because, resolutions, what are those? But yeah, hyper-realistic appears like 3 more times and then we end the story. But yeah. But now I want to get to the part of the episode that's perhaps the most painful, showing you some fan art. So there was plenty of Jeff the Killer fan art from my scroll on it, but I'm going to go to Google because I don't like Bing. I don't like how Bing exists or operates at
Just
all.
like Internet Explorer.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I don't even, okay. All right. Let's pull up the screen share.
I'm glad I could never draw as a kid, and I still can draw now. I'm more of a writer than a drawer. Because I probably come up with some like weird shit. The most I could do.
Well, you haven't even
figures.
Right. You haven't even begun to see. So remember that picture I showed you? It's supposed to be super creepy, whatever, super edgy. This is another. Now this one is actually pretty good, but again, it's not a burn victim.
Yeah,
it's a little bit better, but it's not a burn victim.
I'm wondering if the face is a mask to hide the burn. Could that be it?
If it was more cleverly written, it would be a mask. I'm telling you. Here's thirst trapping with this supposed burn victim 12-year-old kid or 17-year-old kid by this point. Some people have gotten really weird with it. As you can see right there. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on. Don't even ask. Don't even ask. Some people again have kept the creepy nature of it. Some people have done this shit. Let's see. Some people, again, have done fucking this shit. For the most part, Jeff the Killer's fan art has remained consistently on theme, but occasionally you run into shit like, well,
There's a plushie. Is it a plushie right there?
well, like this. There's a plushie? Where'd you see it? Where'd you see a plushie?
Scroll up.
Oh.
Right there. Yeah, is that a
What
plushie?
the fuck? Yeah, that doesn't... I don't... Okay. Okay, sure. Okay. That's
I wonder
fine.
if there was a Funko Pop too. I wouldn't be surprised if there was.
Funko Pop has made a They've done... Funko has done a vinyl
go
figurine
bankrupt?
of everything. Oh, yeah, more anime. Because that's what we needed. More anime. But, you know, that's not even the... Like, let's go to Sonic.exe for a moment. Because that's where the real fan art cancer comes in. You get some
Usually
art that
Sonic
sticks
fan
on
art
the
scares
theme.
me. In a scary way, but because
You get some fan art that stays on theme, yeah.
There's some
But-
Sonic fan art that I've seen, and that like when I'm just like scrolling through like Facebook or something, and I'll see like Sonic and Knuckles making out, or I'm like, what the fuck?
Right. Well, for one, I mean, there's this lovely piece of fan art. Yeah.
It's a whole
okay.
tutorial video.
It's a tutorial video. If you don't
That's
know
what
how
it
to
said.
draw that, you shouldn't be. If you don't know how to draw that, you shouldn't be drawing. Now, in recent times, the fan art's actually improved because certain video games have released mods with Sonic.exe in them, so people have started just kind of doing better fan art. But like somebody's got OCs, I guess.
Is there an actual like fan made game?
There is. Markiplier played it. There is an actual fan made game.
I think
But
that you mentioned that. So, like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I can show it to you real quick. Let's go over to youtube.com. We can see that.
Fucking people.
No, don't play my Nostalgia Critic. Don't play my Nostalgia.
Hey, I also watched Nostalgia Critic.
I mean, I'm watching his old videos back because, I mean, they came out during the peak of my childhood.
Do you watch CinemaSins?
Yeah, sometimes, but somebody made a very good expose on them, so I don't really watch them so much anymore.
Right, like I don't agree with a lot that they say. But I find some of his stuff kind of humorous, but like I don't agree with a lot of the things he gives. I'm like, no, that was quite enjoyable. That part's pretty funny or pretty cool, or he doesn't give credit when credit's due. Like, oh, should have taken some things off, or like this really cool scene, but you don't even mention it at all.
Right. Yeah, I know. I don't know. CinemaSins is kind of like, it's like like Nostalgia Critic isn't exactly high art, but you could see somebody learning to critically understand movies from it. I don't think if somebody's criticizing movies through CinemaSins eyes, then they are an annoying person to be around.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. But let's get into the game here. So yeah, normal Sonic startup screen. Oh, flash second. Yep, select screen from Sonic 3. It's literally a beat-for-beat recreation of the game. So a lot of people call these games walking simulators, and you're about to see why. So it's just reverse music for a while. And then we start to get into this, whatever this is. Then we go into more walking simulation. Ooh, edgy Sonic, edgy Sonic. Hello, do you want to play with me?
Yeah, that's like
Then
Jigsaw.
fire. It does sound a little like Jigsaw. You've got to see the kill. I skipped right past the kill. Let me show you that's the scream. There's the kill.
Your heart.
That was what we were scared of in 2016.
Ring at him? What was that? I can't really tell.
I don't know, but that's what we were scared of in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah. We were not people of high standard. But again, think about it this way. We didn't really have much of anything cool to consume as nerds back then. It was just kind of stuff for normal people, you know.
Mhm.
So, I mean, this was the stuff we had to rely on for our entertainment, you know. But, yeah, you get into the Scream, then the same thing happens with Knuckles and Eggman. I'd show it to you, but it's just the same thing on different stages.
Yeah. I just wanted to see like a brief glimpse.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even really want to show you the end. It's not. It's just a jump scare.
Nah, I'm good.
It's not even like.
Yeah, I get the general idea.
But yeah. Essentially, that's kind of how to sum up the Creepypasta era, is that we really didn't have anything else to consume, so we had to make our own entertainment. And yeah, that's what came out from a bunch of 13-year-olds. Now, again, it's not bad for a bunch of 13-year-olds, but if a bunch of grown adults made that today, I'd have some very interesting questions. But yeah, let's swing into our final thoughts section here, because I think we've dilly-dallied long enough from it. But anyways, yeah, I already explained in the beginning why we flocked to this. I already explained with the ways these stories were presented and engaged with. Nerds really had no choice but to flock to it. But here's why I think future generations are also going to fall into this. For one, fandom on the internet has become so much more common that if you look up Pickles, it'll have a fandom attached to it. A dedicated online fandom that'll roast you online and dox your house. And even normal people have found reason to join on the fandom train, as now there are plenty of shows that appeal to nerds and normies alike. The space is more open than ever for new nerds that grow up, and with new nerds comes a renewed interest in horror, and with that renewed interest in horror comes at least an ironic desire to look back and see where the internet horror stuff truly began. So as long as these stories are getting some exposure, there's at least going to be some kid who's terrified and then awestruck by these terribly written things. Long story short, we're cooked for a while. But what did you think about what you just read and saw?
I thought it was all pretty terrible, being honest.
Well, you're very glad you didn't grow up with it, aren't you?
Oh yeah. I heard like I said, I heard of the term before, and what I was familiar with at the time was just Slender Man. That was the biggest one. Because I was all over YouTube at the time, and I could not avoid it. I'm like, what the fuck is this Slender Man nonsense? I look into it. I'm like, it's just skinny white guy in a suit following you around.
Skinny noodly white guy.
Yeah. And then what is it? A couple years later, though, we get that tragic news story. Those girls.
With those girls that that were involved in that stabbing. Yeah,
because they thought Slender Man was real. And then there's a whole Slender Man movie too. I don't know if you remember that coming out, and it was a big budget Hollywood movie. It was so bad.
That movie was said to be terrible. It's because when you really go back to it, like, these stories were not written by people who knew the complexities. Like, if these stories could be cleanly turned into movies, they would have already been turned into movies way back when. These aren't stories that cleanly translated into movies because they're not cleanly written stories. They're stories written by edgy 13-year-olds to cope with being bullied, to have like revenge fantasies. 1, 2, because character they want to be spooky. You know, they want to be the next Stephen King. They want to be the next Lovecraft. But of course, when you're 13, that's not possible. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is, but I do wonder what the hell we were thinking. I do sometimes sit there and wonder just what the hell we were thinking. I don't know. Just be glad you didn't have to grow up with this stuff and then look back and realize that you were scared of one of the cringiest things ever written.
I
and
mean,
not
I
because
grew
of how
up.
cringe it was.
I grew up, like I said, with the urban legends that this stuff seems to be
Right, yes.
based off of, like ripping off. So, like Mothman, I believed in Mothman at the time. I believe that was a real thing. Even to this day, sometimes I'm like, is Mothman real? And like, I'll like go back into it, and like, because I find Mothman interesting.
Right.
And there's all these like photos and stuff. I mean, all of these photos are fake. I mean, you can tell they're fake, but it's there's like this whole interesting lore behind it. Same thing with like Bigfoot. I mean, Bigfoot being around since like I don't know how long, like 1800s, 1700s, longer than that. Just being passed down generation from generation. Or like the boogeyman.
Yeah, exactly. It's we were making our own boogeymen. Is what I can say for this generation. We were making our own boogeymen. So,
they should have left it to the adults.
They should have left it to the adults. Exactly. That's. But hey, that's not to discourage people from writing horror stories.
No, definitely not.
You have to write cringy stories like these in order to write good ones. But just know that there are going to be two jackasses that go and look back at it and laugh at you. That's going to happen. But anywho, that's all for today's show. If you like this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. All my socials will be linked in the description, as well as my co-host socials, as well as who helped put this episode together, including my audio guide. Follow us everywhere so you don't miss a beat, and tune in next Sunday at 6:30 p.m. for an all-new What's Going On with Dapper Don. You don't want to miss what I have in store. Peace out.